Welcome back to Generation Gat Sports. I'm Marlon,
My name is Elion.
and today we're going to talk about people who should be in the NFL Hall of Fame, but who didn't make it or aren't currently in there. Every year, the NFL puts in people who should be into the Hall of Fame, and about this time each year in February is when they get announced. But there are some players that have been eligible for a little bit that aren't in the Hall of Fame, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Are you ready?
Yep.
Let's go. All right, so this will be quick. We're just going to talk about our top three players who are eligible for the Hall of Fame, but not quite in it. So we're not talking about people who just retired or people who are still playing like Tom Brady, who are definitely going to be in the Hall of Fame. We're talking about people who have already had at least 1 year of eligibility for being in the Hall of Fame and haven't been selected. And we're going to talk about the snubs, the people we think should be in the Hall of Fame. We're going to do our top three and we're going to alternate. And I'm going to start off with my partner here. He's going to give his first player who he thinks should be in the Hall of Fame that isn't currently there.
All right. So number 3, I'm going Jamal Lewis. I
Okay.
think I think he should have been in the Hall of Fame because he averaged 1,000 yards rushing every single season, even with injuries and with the Browns on any team he went to. So I think he should have been in the Hall of Fame for that. He also had one season with 2,066 rushing yards.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then number 2, I have
Wait,
Reggie.
wait, 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 wait. You can't go number two. We're alternating. You give your number
Oh,
one, I give my number one. Didn't y'all
okay.
hear that? He didn't hear it, but I did. All right, let's go. Since you started off with a running back, I got three. I'm going to go with a running back, but I'm going to go to a different one. I'm going with Fred Taylor from the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Mm.
And that's he was a great running back. He averaged 4.6 yards per carry. I think he was cursed by playing in Jacksonville where no one noticed him. But he's 17th on the all-time rushing record, which doesn't sound impressive until you realize that all the 16 people ahead of him are in the Hall of Fame. His numbers compare favorably to Thurman Thomas, who's a Hall of Famer. And I think he just got caught playing in Jacksonville when it was a newer franchise and people didn't watch him. And Jacksonville didn't really accomplish a lot. But take a look at his numbers: over 11,000 yards rushing, 4.6 yards a carry, a good number of touchdowns, more than even Thurman Thomas. That guy should be in the Hall of Fame.
Mm.
Who's your next guy?
Number 2 for me is Reggie Wayne. I think
Reggie
I
Wayne's not in the Hall of Fame?
no.
Wow.
I think it's just been a little too long. He should be in there by
I
now.
think he'll get there.
He's number 10 on all-time receptions and receiving yards. So I think he should just be in the Hall of Fame. And a lot of people think that he was good just because he had Peyton Manning on his team, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not the case. I think he's just a really good player in general.
All right, that's a good one. That's a good one. Well, since you went receiver, I'm also going to go receiver, but I'm staying with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm going with Jimmy Smith. Jimmy Smith had over, I think he had 1,000 yard receiving years. He was an all pro at least 5 times. I think he had if you look at his numbers at his peak when he was playing at the same time as Marvin Harrison, their numbers are similar, but Jimmy Smith didn't have Peyton Manning throwing him the football. Again, I think he suffers from playing in Jacksonville. I think he suffers from uh, not winning and not being winning a Super Bowl like some of these other receivers and other players had. But look at his numbers. His career is about the same length as Michael Irvin's. It even overlaps Michael Irvin's, and his numbers are as good as Michael Irvin's across the board. And Michael Irvin's a Hall of Famer. So Jimmy Smith, where are you? Why aren't you in the Hall of Fame? The committee's got to put you there.
And then for my number 1, I'm going Eddie George. I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. A lot of people think he shouldn't have because of his average yards per carry, which was below a 4.0. But it's mostly because that when he went to the Tennessee Titans, just like they do with Derrick Henry, they run the ball all the time. Just like they did that then too. And since all the defenses knew it was coming, they knew that they're gonna run the ball, so they already got to him by then. So I think he had a great career, and I think he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's a good one. This time I'm not going to follow you. I'm not going with the running back this time. I'm going with a quarterback from back in the day. and that's Ken Anderson, who was a quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals. Before there was Bill Walsh and Joe Montana and those great 80s 49er offenses, there was Bill Walsh and Ken Anderson in Cincinnati. He was really the first quarterback to run that full West Coast offense that Bill Walsh popularized, and many credit him with creating. You can't, if you go back and look at that Russell Wilson video where we talked about his stats and whether he's a Hall of Famer now, you know you can't compare stats to today to back then because they're not the same. So don't look at his stats back then. Let's look at his stats when he retired. When he retired, he had the record for the highest completion percentage in a single season. He had the record for the highest completion percentage in a single game. He had the record for the highest completion percentage in a Super Bowl. Unfortunately, they lost that Super Bowl to Joe Montana and the 49ers. But he also retired. I think he was in the top. He was definitely in the top 10, maybe even the top 5 in passing yards when he retired. Look at his numbers. They compare favorably to Roger Staubach, who's in the Hall of Fame. So I think Ken Anderson needs to be there. And again, don't compare him to today's pass happy numbers. Compare him to his counterparts when he played and the other people in the league who are in the Hall of Fame when he played. And look at his stats and compare it to theirs, and then tell me that Ken Anderson is not a Hall of Famer. You got anything else to add?
I think Roger Craig, just
Yeah.
to add on, I think he also should have been in the Hall of Fame.
If I was going top 5, I'd have probably put Roger Craig there. But why do you think he should have been in the Hall of Fame?
Because even though he's a running back, he still had 500 plus receptions on the 49ers, which is a lot.
Yeah.
He also had a lot of rushing yards. And people don't really think about him because they were focused on Joe Montana and Jerry Rice.
Yep.
And Terrell Owens and all those other people.
Yep, but he was a lot like the modern backs are today. He would catch receiving. He was a lot like Marshall Faulk before Marshall Faulk came. He ran for a lot of yards and he did a lot of pass catching. And I think he suffers a bit because earlier in his career he was a fullback. Back when they used to separate those fullback versus running back, they don't do that too much anymore. Which means he didn't get the ball. He was more of a running back or a pass catcher or a third down back. But later in his career, he transitioned to be a full running back. And then you take a look at his numbers then, and they're great. And he's got the Super Bowls. So, I think Roger Craig would be a good one. I do want to mention a couple things, and these are a couple players I didn't mention because I think they're going to get in maybe even this year. And that's Patrick Willis from the 49ers. He's only been eligible for a couple years. I think he should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. His career just got cut a little short. He's a linebacker, but he was a great linebacker. Great. He was a combination of the big, strong Ray Lewis linebacker with the really fast Lawrence Taylor linebacker, and he was absolutely dominant for all the years he played. I think he was all pro every year of his career. And Zach Thomas, a longtime linebacker for the Miami Dolphins, who's also, I believe, a finalist this year. I think he'll get in, but I just want to mention those. And if we do this video in a couple years and those guys aren't in there, they're going to be in my top 5.
Is Cam Chancellor in the Hall of Fame?
Cam Chancellor is not in the Hall of Fame, but I'm not sure he's eligible yet.
He is eligible. He retired in 2017 after his
I don't know if that's his official year of retirement. I think that's the last year he played.
No, the last year he played was in 2016.
Yeah, I don't think so because he hasn't even been on the ballots yet.
Well, when he does, he should be in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion.
Yeah, so he's not a snub yet though because he hasn't. I don't think they've been voting on him yet.
I think maybe next year he should be eligible at the least. Yep. I mean, if he retired in 2018, I think he did. He should be eligible this year.
I don't know if he'll be a first ballot. It depends on who else is eligible when he goes. All right. Anything else?
Nope.
That's our time. Thank you for joining us today for Generation Gap Sports. Remember, if you liked this video, if you thought this was fun, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and go ahead and hit that like button so more people can see us and so that you can know when we publish our next video. So until next time, I'm Marlon.
I'm Elion.
We'll see ya.